There's a procedure for this particular study. Step 1. Choose an area that you will observe. Step 2. Have a group member study a particular species in that environment. Step 3. Observe your species in this area twice a day, preferably in the morning and the afternoon. Use a quadrant to take samples on the number of organisms of your particular species. Step 4. Conduct Step 3 for a month. Remember to record the data. Step 5. Once you have gathered your data, look for possible relationships between your species and other biotic or abiotic factors. Our Ecology Project is located at Fremont, California, at Mission San Jose High School. The average temperature here is 60 to 70 degrees. Our ecosystem is located at the center of Mission San Jose High, near the gym. The elevation here is 38.7096 meters. Our little ecosystem is divided into a little rocky section, a bunch of tan bark, and a building wall on the side. There are trees planted by people and bushes placed by people. These producers are what create the basis of this ecosystem.
Why, hello there. Let me explain you my ecology species. There are two types of birds that are very commonly found at Mission San Jose High School. Two types of birds are the black pheo, or they're classified as Cyrnus naricans, and the blackbird, or classified as Turdus mercula. The two birds I just named are scavengers. When humans toss food to the ground, they gather around and pick up the food and bring it back to their nest. The most common birds that live in Fremont, California are called the black pheo. They're small, plump songbirds with large heads and medium-long, square tails. They live near water and make short flights to catch insects. Throughout the year, summer, winter, and migration, they mostly live near the west coast.
As you can see, these are the nests for this species of birds. The nests are really small and they can only hold a few birds at a time. That is why these birds are known as case specialists. They can only care for so few at a time. The lack of any more nests also show that there is a carrying capacity. There can only be so many birds living in this place at once.
First day of our ecology project, I discovered this rare and beautiful species, the Amanita calotropderma, or cocora. It is a beautiful mushroom native to the western coast of North America. It is golden brown and a fall plant. They have a clump dispersion pattern. They tend to cluster around plants as they decompose the dead detritus when the leaves fall off. They are mainly fall species as they need to decompose the stuff as it falls off. In the spring, they tend to die off as they're seasonal. You can see in this graph, the numbers decreased as spring came along. The less detritus there was to decompose, the less energy they had, and eventually they died off. Human interaction also played a part in this. Some of my mushrooms were stomped on and therefore died. This interaction between human factors and regular seasonal factors contributed to the extinction of my species in our ecosystem.
Hello, my name is Kevin and I am doing my project on the common harvester ant, Mesor andreae. So what I've noticed most about this animal is that its behavior in its habitat. It shows a positive taxis for food on the ground. For example, there was a dropped grape near the rocks the other day, and there was a bunch of ants swarming all over it. The other behavior it demonstrates is kinesis. For example, when people step near an ant line on the ground, the ant line will shift around so that it will be more efficient in carrying its food. It also is affected by human activity. where, as I have mentioned earlier, we leave trash on the ground, and so the ants will just come over and take in the trash. There was also this relationship between ant temperature and weather. When the temperature was really cold, and the ants were probably just became sluggish, and not that many would appear during this time. However, when temperatures were hot and the sun wasn't really shiny, ants were found everywhere, evenly distributed. But when it was too sunny, the ants would be more concentrated under the eaves, where it was more shady for them and therefore easier to move.
Over the past 5 weeks, I have been researching, observing, stalking if you will, the Canyon Prince giant rye. This grass-like plant also has the scientific name of the Lamus convencetus canyon prince. This plant usually grows in clumps and has the height and the diameter around 2 to 3 feet, with the flowering plants growing even taller. And over the period of times, I have been researching and observing the growth of the buds, the growth of the plants and the flowers, and also the death. So over time, I have seen that there have been a mutualism between the bees and the flowers, where the bees land on the flowers for nectar, as well as transferring pollen from flower to flower, aiding in a sort of plant sex, if you will. In the past week, I have also observed some competition between the Canyon Prince giant rye and another weed-like plant. This weed-like plant has been growing on top of the Canyon Prince giant rye, which blocking sunlight for the Canyon Prince giant rye and also slowing down the photosynthesis process. But overall, the Canyon Prince giant rye has been surviving and has been flowering into these white flowers and are surviving pretty well in this sort of community.
Hello, my name is Neilson. In this ecology project, I studied the species the honeybees. Now, first things first, the honeybees are different from the bumblebees and the wasps. They were all around the same general area, around the shrubs that Jeremy studied. The major difference is, well, pretty obvious. See, this is a honeybee, this is a bumblebee. The bumblebee is like black. The honeybee here is different from the wasp. And you can just kind of... So this is probably the reason why we have a lot of bees here at our place. This is the beehive. No, don't throw the stick, don't bother them. Between the honeybee and the bushes existed a bond of mutualism. Basically, the two would help each other out. The honeybee goes to the flower on the bush to get the nectar. While it does that, it gets pollen on it. And then when it goes to another flower, it pollinates us. This bond is so important that species like these two have evolved together and that also explains the peculiarity of the honeybee's activity. I noticed that when the sun is shining brightly and it is very hot, there are more bees around than normal. First I thought this is because the honeybees might need the heat in order to be active. But after thinking about it, it might be something deeper. What happens when it gets hotter? Plants start to do their... Proximate causation is the explanation of an animal's behavior based on trigger stimuli and internal mechanisms. The trigger stimuli could trace it back to being the sun that shines in the sky. And then that would signal to the plants that it's time for spring! And they would do their business, and which would then trigger the honeybee's activity. I think this because the appearance of the honeybees did not come gradually with the temperature. It came suddenly all at once. You remember that time when your nose started running uncontrollably? Yeah, it was that time.
Have you started?
Yeah, just think of something, go.
I'm gonna get out of my
About
face.
5 days. Or your daughter dies.
We're actually recording this now.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Alright, you two be quiet. Emil, do you have something to say?
No, not especially.
And human activity.
Ready, go. Oh, wait, sit up, you short.
Hello, my name is Kevin. Oh my god.